Hey guys, so today we are learning our ankle C.A.R.s. Let's just review the ranges of motion as usual, just so we're familiar, and then we'll get right into our 3 reps in each direction on each side. Now for this particular C.A.R.s, if you want to get a yoga block or a pillow or something to support your leg, I highly recommend placing your leg like this, just so you can get a sense of, one, how your leg is rotating, right? Because if it's rotating like this, that means it's coming from the hip, and we don't want that. So we want to make sure the kneecap is again facing up at all times so that we can really isolate the ankle in this way. The second reason I want you to get a block or something to prop up your leg is that you'll see my heel is nice and loose. It's not blocked off. I'm blocking off my calf, right? This way we can support the rest of the leg and also give a little bit of room for our ankle to really isolate and do its thing without its range of motion being inhibited. The thing that you don't want to do is this, right? So now when I have to move, the block is going to be blocking off my heel. It makes it a little bit harder. Technically, it is a good variation if you wanted to up your C.A.R.s game, but that's a different story. That's going to be for another month. But for now, if you want something to prop it up, highly recommend it. So let's go over our ranges of motion. I'm going to stay in this position for a moment because it's pretty great for showing the ankle's version of flexion and extension. So with the ankle, we actually have 2 flexions. One of them is plantar flexion, and then the other one is dorsiflexion. So plantar flexion is when I take the ball of my foot and I think of planting it into the ground. It's almost like a gas pedal motion, right? So when I push the ball of my foot forward like that, that is my plantar flexion. When I bring the ball of my foot back towards my face, then that's dorsiflexion. So 2 flexions, different. This one's technically the extension of the ankle, and this one's technically the flexion of the ankle. So, different names, same motions. The other thing that we have here is going to be our eversion and our inversion, right? So eversion looks like this, right? The action of facing the bottom of the foot away from my other leg. Boop, right? So that's eversion. Inversion is this way. So I'm trying to face the bottom of my foot towards my other leg. Fairly simple, right? So usually the ankle sprains that are most common happen inversion ankle sprains, which means that the foot is in this position. It hurts the outside of the ankle. And then, of course, eversion ankle sprains are also possible, but they're a little bit less common because usually this area is a little more resilient, but they still do happen. Anyway, so those are the ranges of motion: plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, eversion, inversion, right? So now we have enough information to do our C.A.R.s. The whole ankle C.A.R.s looks like this. We're going to start in flexion. I'm going to find my inversion, push through the ball of my foot, through the toes, find my eversion at the very end of my plantar flexion. I'm going to flex my toes back first. My ankle is still pointed forward. And then, still trying to turn out as much as I can, I'm going to bring my foot back, still turned out, and then I'm going to let it come back to neutral. To reverse that, same thing, flex, dorsiflex, turn it out, push through the ball of the foot, push through the toes, turn to the inside, flex the toes back, just the toes, the ankle's still pointed, and then we're going to bring the ankle back as well, return it to neutral. Make sense? So we're going to try 3 of these in a row, and then we're going to switch sides, and we'll call it a day. One thing to note, I'm going to do this really fast. If you, again, see a whole lot of this happening, that means that your hip is super involved. So you want to make sure that the kneecap stays up the entire time. You can even hold onto your leg to make sure that it's really just your ankle that's working. It should feel like a whole lot of stuff directly around your ankle. You might feel some stuff in the arch. You might also feel some stuff into the shin. But if you feel some stuff in your hip, you're in the wrong place, okay? So let's give this a try. And we're gonna go for 3 in one direction, 3 in the opposite, other leg. Again, hold on to your thigh if you'd like to. And from here, I'm gonna adjust my block first because it's kind of gone down. We're gonna start by flexing. So flex back as far as you can. Toes are reaching towards your face. Once you have this, keep that flexion. You're going to try to think of turning the bottom of the foot in towards your other leg as much as you can. From here, you're going to push through the ball of the foot, still in that orientation. Now we're going to push through the toes. You might get some cramps here. Deal with it. It's totally fine. And from here, what we're going to do is keep the toes pointed as we point the foot in the other direction. We're trying to get the bottom of the foot to face that way now, right? From here, flex the toes back, just the toes. The ankle is still pointed. And then from here, we're going to bring the ankle back. Pass through neutral 2 more times. Now we're facing the bottom of the foot towards the other leg. We're going to push through the toes, round it out to face away from the other leg, flex the toes back, bring the ankle back. 1 more time, pass neutral, point the bottom of the foot towards the other leg, push through the ball of the foot, point through the toes, bring it across as far as you can. You should feel some stuff in that outer ankle. From here, flex the toes back, bring the ankle back, and then you're back in neutral. We're going to go 3 in the opposite direction now. So you can stay dorsiflexed here. We're just going to evert. So we're going to take the bottom of our foot pointed away from our other leg. From here, keep that orientation as you push through the ball of the foot. Nice. From here, push through the toes. Once you have that, we're going to point the toes towards the other foot. Really, really try to get that sickle going on. And from here, just the toes flexed back. Ankle is still pointed. Bring the ankle back towards your face. You got 2 more just like this. Pass through neutral to find that eversion again. Bottom of the foot faces away from the other leg. Point through the ball of the foot, through the toes. Bring it across. Once we've got that sickle, flex the toes back, flex the foot back, pass through neutral 1 more time. Push through the bottom of the foot, push through the toes, bring it around, flex the toes back, bring the ankle back, and you can rest at neutral. Nice. You can shake it out if you need to. From here, we got 1 more foot, right? So same idea here. Again, you're looking for all the sensations on the outside, top of the ankle, maybe a little bit on the inside. You might feel some things in your arch. You might feel some things into your shin, right? So from here, stabilize the leg. Make sure the kneecap is facing up towards the ceiling. And we're going to go for our flexion first, our dorsiflexion. So we're going to bring the foot back towards our face. Now that we have this, we're going to start with our inversion, which means that the bottom of the foot is going to turn to face my other leg as much as possible. Once I'm here, I'm going to push through the ball of the foot as much as I can, still flexing the toes back, and then I'm going to point through the toes. Once I have this sickle, I'm going to keep the toes pointed, keep the ankles pointed, push through over to the other side. I'm trying to get the bottom of my foot to face away as far as possible from this leg. From here, you want to try to think of flexing the toes back first. We're still in this eversion, right? And then you can bring the ankle back. You'll see again the bottom of the foot is facing that way. From here, you can pass through neutral. We're going to again find that inversion, face the bottom of the foot towards this leg. I'm going to move over a little bit just so you get a clearer picture. We're going to push through the ball of the foot, push through the toes, bring it across, find that eversion as much as you can in this end position. We're going to flex the toes back. From here, we're going to flex the ankle back, dorsiflex the ankle back. And we're going to pass through neutral 1 more time in this direction. We're going to invert, push through the ball of the foot, push through the toes, evert. We're going to try to take the bottom of the foot over to the other side as much as we can, flex the toes back, flex the ankle back, right? Dorsiflex the ankle back. 1 more time, pass through, invert, push through the ball of the foot, push through the toes, bring it across, flex the toes back, flex the ankle back, still everted, and then we're gonna come back to neutral, right? Now we got 3 in the opposite direction. To practice, you can stay in this dorsiflexion, so we're going to dorsiflex a little bit harder. We're gonna take the bottom of the foot, try to face it away from this leg now. So, boop, we're gonna try to face it away as much as we can. From here, we're gonna push through the ball of the foot. Still in that orientation, we're going to push through the toes. Keep that going. You might get some cramps. Totally fine. You are okay. We're going to bring it across toes to face in towards this leg now. Once you find that sickle, you're going to flex the toes back. And then you're going to dorsiflex the ankle as well. We're still kind of inverted, so we're going to pass through neutral to eversion. We're going to push through the ball of the foot, through the toes. Keep that going. Bring it across as much as you can. Flex the toes back, then just bring the ankle back. One more time, pass through neutral. We're going to try to face the bottom of the foot away from this other leg. Push through the ball of the foot, push through the toes, bring it all the way across. Once you get to this point, flex the toes back, flex the ankle back, and then we're going to come back to neutral. And that's it. You can move the ankle around, and from here we have learned our ankle C.A.R.s, and that finishes up our C.A.R.s series. Actually, we've learned every single C.A.R.s there is to know. Now remember that these are basic patterns. So what that means is that within each of those basic patterns, there are so many variations to play with, and that's what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks, right? We're going to play with a couple different variations to change the awareness, and we're also going to build up a little bit of strength using these patterns, right? Tomorrow, we're going to be learning some odd articulations that are similar to C.A.R.s, and that we need to be able to move these things fairly well in order to maintain their mobility and other health benefits and things like that. But yeah, good job on learning all of your C.A.R.s. Hopefully you're taking part in the optional 15-day challenge, which is basically you're doing 3 reps of your C.A.R.s in a row at each place. It's really not that difficult. It's actually a really good way to start applying these concepts into your daily life, right? Because that's what this is about. We're learning all these patterns that we can learn how to take care of our joints daily. Yeah? All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.